Hi, here is Unity again, and we're going to do a few things. One is making the mountains be awesome without being out of control. The first thing we're actually going to do is flatten our texture, which means we're going to set the ground actually up in the air a little bit. So the height here of 51 doesn't matter. I'm just going to type in 50. Ooh. 50. And when you hit the word flatten, it looks like it jumped way the heck somewhere far away, and it kind of did. It jumped up in the air, but that allows us to push down into it to make like bowls and divots. But we then need to move our player also up in the air. So we can drag his Y value up. I'm going to focus in here so I can actually see him. And you can see when I have him at around 50, he is just right above the ground, which is what we want. Okay? So by flattening it, now on the terrain, when we use the raise and lower option, if I hold shift, I can actually push down into the ground, making, ravines and stuff. Be careful you don't make a place your player can't get out of, because that's not a fun game to play. It's just frustrating. And how deep it's pushing is the opacity here, so if I put that really low, we just kind of have little awkward hills. And if I let go of shift, I can raise up again, etc. So you add a little bit of interest to your game, and you can use these paths to kind of encourage the player to go certain directions, etc. Now we've got our mountains and we could make the rest of our level, but we'll move on. I'm going to give you a script that we're just going to modify. If you go to Google and you look up Mr. Suter Tech Lab and go there, this is my teacher website, and go to the Intro to Programming page. At the bottom of that page is this file right here. It says coin collect. You want to click on this little down arrow right here. That's going to download the file. It's a JavaScript file. And then we're going to move that from our downloads, which I'm going to Control-C to copy, and just go into my Unity folder, into this project folder, I think it's this one, into my assets, which I already have it there, but I'll paste that. Some of you may have already done this. And coin collect new, that is the one that's on the Tech 1 page. I don't know if they're actually different or not. Coin collect new. I'm going to go ahead and use coin collect new from that one, but now I have this coin collect new script. I'm going to delete the old coin collect one. Now double click that coin collect new, and it's going to launch into our code editor, which for my students is Visual Studio, a Microsoft product. Some of you it might be MonoDevelop. Either one is fine. Now we don't need to write any code in here because this is just an intro to using a script, and then we're going to modify the script. But just to give you a basic overview of what's happening, you can ignore the first 3 lines for now, but the update section, notice it has a little squiggle here, which has its own little friend down here. Everything in between there are things that happen every frame of the game, which is like, could be anywhere from 30 to 100 times per second. Happens a lot. And then if you remember from Game Maker, when you collide with something, something happens. Yeah. Well, that's what this is now. Function on trigger enter other collider is simply when we run into something, and if it's labeled or tagged as a coin, then get some points and destroy the coin, etc. So it's very similar to Game Maker in that respect, that it's if this, then that. Okay? We can ignore the rest for now. We're just going to minimize this for right now. We need to put this coin collect script onto our player. So we do that by dragging this up into the players highlighted and let go. Now when we click on our player, if I collapse a bunch of stuff so you can see it, you can see that script is now part of the player. If you're getting some errors because audio, something has been deprecated, you can actually get rid of line 3 if you don't want it to play a ding sound, and therefore you can also get rid of this line 20 and save and go back. If you're having that error, you can go get rid of those. It's no problem. Now what we need to put in is something that looks something like a coin. So go ahead and create under game object, 3D object, let's create a cylinder. And I'm going to hit F to focus in on that. Whoa, it's way down there. We want to move that above the ground, which my ground's at 50, so I'm going to set this at like 52. There's my cylinder that I just created. Doesn't look much like a coin. However, if I scrub on these values, like the X here, until it's, I'm going to guess it's going to end up at 90, so I'm going to type in 90 for that. And I want to scale it in here. Oh, not that way. There we go. The Y I'm going to scale in until it's a little more coin-like. Use the right mouse button to hover around it. Scale it in until it looks kind of like a coin. Excellent. There's my coin. Save. Okay, now our coin doesn't look much like a coin. I'm going to show you how to add a material to it. And so if we launch Google and we just look at coin, clip art, that'll work. And I go to images. Actually, you know what? I'm going pirate coin. Oh yeah, look at that. So I'm going to take this one, view image. I'm going to save this image and put it right inside my Unity folder here.
Assets?
Assets, yeah. Call this coin1. And now back inside of Unity,
Where do you want to put it?
now that it's inside of your Unity folder, inside of assets, it shows up here inside of Unity. See that right there? So we can drag and drop it right onto our coin, and it looks like a coin. Now the edge doesn't look much like a coin because it's wrapping around it, but it more or less is pretty good. We're not getting too picky. So we have a little coin there. Pretty sweet.